In this video, I'll be installing and testing a mass airflow sensor kit by Storch Vehicle Electronics for the Porsche 944. Today we've got a 1988 naturally aspirated Porsche 944 in Alpine white with a burgundy interior. The current owner has had this car for a couple years now and has been working through a number of maintenance items to restore its overall condition. It recently had some new ignition system components installed and the engine's running really well, so it should provide a good baseline for our tests to come. But before we get into the MAF sensor installation and review, let's take a look at this kit and see what it has to offer. Now, there have been a few different MAF kits made for the 944 over the years, and this one is a little unique for a few reasons that we'll get into. As we open up the box and have a look at the components, we can see that it comes with a nicely designed air intake tube featuring a blade-style mass airflow sensor. And interestingly, these are Bosch components made in Germany, Bosch being the same manufacturer of the car's original engine management and ignition systems. This intake tube and sensor package replaces the 944's existing airflow meter, or AFM, with a modern free-breathing MAF sensor. There are a few advantages that come along with that. One being the MAF eliminates the mechanical flapper door element used in the AFM, which is a wearable component that can result in hesitation or stumbling acceleration as grooves develop in the potentiometer contact strips over time. The air intake stream also has to push this metal door open under acceleration, resulting in some resistance, whereas the MAF sensor features an open tube design. On the side of the element, we can see a grid of plastic screens and some stainless steel mesh, and on the other side we can get a good view of the sensor itself. The screens are used to homogenize airflow through the intake tube, which improves the measurement precision of the sensor. And finally, on top here, we can see where the factory wiring harness connects directly to the new sensor without any kind of modification. This kit also includes an adapter to accommodate the required 12-volt switched power supply, and in this case, it taps right into the wiring for the idle air control valve under the intake manifold, which is another design feature that makes this particular kit unique. Unlike some of the other MAF kits available today, this one is truly plug and play. It doesn't require accessing the DME computer, swapping out EEPROM chips, or adjusting the fuel mix in any way, which makes things pretty easy. And taking a look at the product manufacturer's website, we can see some other benefits like improved horsepower and torque across the rev range, enhanced throttle response, and improved fuel economy. A couple other things I'll mention here are that the prices are listed in euros, all of which include a 90% VAT or duties and taxes for Germany. But as you go through the shopping cart flow and assign a United States shipping address, the taxes will drop off and these units can be ordered for around $725 US. More importantly, Storch also offers MAF kits for the 924S, the early and late 944s, the 944 Turbo, and the 16-valve 944S and S2 models, the last of which have generally been excluded from other MAF kits on the market today, so these options are great to see. To prepare for the installation and review of the Storch MAF kit, I recently had this car dyno tested so the before and after results could be compared, and during those baseline tests, 3 polls were conducted on a DynoJet 248H. The average of the 3 runs returned values of 134 max horsepower at the wheels and 138 foot-pounds of torque, which is about what I'd expect from this 1988 model. So with that out of the way, let's get into the modification and see how the performance stacks up against the post-installation results. This MAF conversion kit can generally be installed in about 30 minutes and does not require any specialized tools, as it's mostly plug and play. Since we'll be working with the car's electrical system, we'll start by disconnecting the negative terminal on the battery, and now we can begin swapping out the components in the engine bay and wiring the new MAF sensor. We'll be fully removing the factory AFM here, which is attached by 4 10mm bolts on the inside of the air filter housing and a ring clamp on the other side. We'll start by disconnecting the wiring harness from the AFM, which should be locked in place by a metal spring clip. If the connector doesn't wiggle free, the spring clip can be pushed aside using a small flathead screwdriver. Next, go ahead and remove the 5 Phillips head screws securing the housing cover and disconnect the breather hose running to the belt covers if you haven't capped off those connections. At this point, the cover can be lifted off the housing and the air filter removed to reveal the mounting bolts. From here, you can loosen and remove the bolts connected to the AFM, 3 of which are pretty easy, but the position of the lower front bolt provides limited access. If you remove the other 3 bolts first, a small combination wrench can be applied and turned incrementally while twisting the AFM back and forth for each tool placement. On the other side, we'll loosen the clamp holding the J-boot in place and separate the 2 parts. And with everything disconnected, the AFM unit can be removed and set aside. The new intake tube and MAF sensor can now be installed in place of the factory AFM. We'll want to ensure that the mating surfaces are clean here and that the paper gasket is replaced if the original one is cracked or brittle. Once the gasket is in place, the 4 10mm bolts can be reinstalled and torqued to a value of 7.5 foot-pounds. Again, on the other side, the ring clamp can be tightened down so that the J-boot is secured to the intake tube. Next, the air filter can be reinstalled along with the housing cover and the breather hose. With the new parts installed and the hardware tightened down, the factory AFM wiring harness can be connected to the MAF sensor. The final step of the installation involves routing the 12-volt power wire that splits off and requires connection to a switched power source for the MAF sensor to function. In this case, Storch has provided an adapter that passes between the wiring for the idle air control valve where it taps into the switch power supply just under the intake manifold. You'll find the electrical connector for the valve between the second and third intake tubes of the manifold, and we've got another small spring clip to deal with here. Given the limited access to this area, it's easiest to take a flathead screwdriver and carefully leverage it between the top of the valve housing and the base of the plastic connector. With a few well-placed gentle twists along the top and bottom of the connector, the spring clip will release and the wiring harness can be pulled away from the valve. Next, we're going to route the power wire from the MAF sensor over to the idle air control valve. For a cleaner look, the wire should be routed under the intake manifold and pulled up through the center rather than coming down from above, which makes any future removal of the intake manifold a lot easier. From here, the power wire can be clipped into the tap connector on the adapter. Just make sure it's firmly clipped in place and the connector is fully locked down. Now the adapter and power wire can be passed back through the second and third intake tubes and the male side of the adapter connected to the wiring harness for the idle air control valve. And lastly, the female side of the adapter can be connected directly to the valve. With the 12-volt power wire connected and the adapter installed, we can now reconnect the negative lead on the battery and prepare to start the engine and inspect for normal operation. In some situations, the idle speed will need to be adjusted after installation due to the MAF setup being less restrictive than the factory AFM, and if that's the case, it can be done using the idle set screw on the side of the throttle body. So let's go ahead and start the car and see how it runs. Well, the engine started up the first time without any issue, which is great to see. The idle locks right in at around 1,000 RPM without stumbling or hunting, so it doesn't look like we'll need to make any adjustments there. The engine also revs well, with the idle dropping right back into place. When applying wide open throttle from idle, there's just a little bit of initial hesitation before the engine accelerates, which is a pretty common effect with MAF kits on these cars. By comparison, here's a look at a cold start with the factory AFM installed in the car, where we can see nearly identical idle behavior to that of the MAF kit. So with that in mind, let's take a look at some driving comparison tests. As you can see with the factory airflow meter, the engine was running strong, it had nice linear acceleration, and wasn't stumbling at any point. The same goes for the mass airflow sensor. The engine has the same smooth acceleration, it's not hesitating, and the throttle response has a noticeable improvement where it comes on just a little quicker. So let's get the car back on the dyno and check out the results. During the follow-up dyno session, the wideband O2 data indicated the engine was running leaner than we would have liked, around a 15:1 air-fuel ratio at wide open throttle, and we didn't want to push the car too hard at that level, so we took it back for some diagnostics. After smoke testing the intake, we discovered a few vacuum leaks at the throttle body, the upper intake manifold connection, and the thermo vacuum valve under the manifold, which would explain the lean condition. The owner opted to address these items himself at a later time because he already had some parts on hand. However, this was a useful component in our testing as it highlights how the factory AFM can be a little more forgiving when it comes to vacuum leaks. It also serves as a good reminder to test for leaks in general, given the age of these cars, whether you're running a MAF sensor or the factory airflow meter. To further test out the Storch MAF kit, I next installed it on my own 944, also a 1988 NA model. If you spent some time on the channel here, you may already know that I've been running a Lindsay Racing MAF tune kit on my car for a couple years now, and it was dyno tested before and after the installation, which provides a great opportunity to compare the features and benefits of these two products. After swapping in the Storch MAF sensor and replacing the Lindsay fuel map chip in the DME computer with the factory chip, I noticed similar results to that of the Alpine White car. The engine started right up the first time without any issues, and the idle locked in without any hesitation or stumbling, which is something I had been experiencing at cold start with the Lindsay MAF, so it was great to see that the Storch MAF resolved that symptom. Engine performance was also just as expected, with improved throttle response over the factory AFM. Take a look. Next, dyno testing was conducted on the car to compare the Storch kit's performance to the car's baseline with a factory AFM installed, where the factory baseline showed 132.1 horsepower and 138.7 torque with an air-fuel ratio of 14:1. The best initial run with the Storch MAF installed at base settings was 132.3 horsepower, just a nominal increase in power. The car was running well at this level, but we wanted to see what we could get out of it, so the fuel mix percentage was increased plus 6% using the fuel quality switch, or FQS, on the DME computer. This is done by turning the switch clockwise by 3 clicks using a triangular tool or a 2.5mm Allen wrench. The kit's manufacturers shared that these adjustments aren't typically needed, but they are there for fine-tuning if you have access to O2 readings. At plus 6% fuel, the Storch MAF resulted in 135.9 horsepower at a 14:1 air-fuel ratio, which was an increase of 2.9% over baseline with good fuel economy. Overall, I found the Storch kit to be very easily installed while providing a minor boost in performance on paper, along with the added benefits of improved throttle response and reliability in eliminating the mechanical AFM component. In addition, when communicating with the manufacturer, they were very helpful, informative, and responsive to email, which is a great win for product support. Now that we've tested both MAF kits and collected some data, let's compare the features and benefits and see how they stack up. Starting with the power increase category, as we saw, the Storch kit added 2.9% at the wheels, whereas the Lindsay kit increased horsepower by about 4.8%, so not necessarily a huge disparity, but it's more power nonetheless. As for fuel economy, I've had to run the Lindsay MAF setup pretty rich to reduce a stumbling idle issue, where the air-fuel ratio has been about 12:1 at wide-open throttle versus about 14:1 on the Storch MAF. Again, engine operation, specifically the idle at cold start, has been an issue with the Lindsay kit that I haven't been able to completely eliminate. This is something that I wasn't experiencing with the factory AFM, and we didn't see it with the Storch kit. As for throttle response, I don't have a great way to measure that, but it feels like both kits have improved the throttle response somewhat, and anecdotally they feel about equal, so this one is a benefit of both products. When it comes to the sensor itself, we know that Storch uses Bosch components, and it's my understanding that Lindsay uses Hitachi sensors. Hitachi being an OEM sensor supplier for various car manufacturers, and they seem to be reliable, but all the serial numbers are physically removed from the sensors while the Lindsay kits are assembled, so it's hard to tell what's really in there. Due to the lack of transparency on the Lindsay parts and the idea of Bosch being the OEM Porsche supplier out of Germany, I'll give the edge to Storch on this one. As far as product appearance, I think the CNC machined aluminum of Lindsay's intake tube looks a little cleaner. The Storch tube certainly looks good as well, it's fully functional, and it doesn't look out of place in the engine bay, but I think the aluminum is a bit more durable. In the installation category, we have a much wider gap in complexity. The Storch kit is very quick and easy to install, but things can get a little tricky with Lindsay's offering, and while the 1988 model year with its 28-pin chip socket isn't too bad, it still requires removal of the DME computer, swapping over chips, and routing the MAF power wire over to the ignition coil. With my car, I wasn't a huge fan of the wire cutting across the gap between the engine and the right frame rail where the coil sits, so I ended up removing the aluminum front bumper and routing the wire along the pathway of the car's main wiring harness up front for a more professional look, something that added time to the installation, not to mention the additional effort of dialing in the fuel mix percentage after installation. It's also important to note that model years 1985.5 through 1987 have a 24-pin socket that requires modification to the DME computer board, and that the early DMEs have a soldered chipset where an entirely different later DME is required for installation, so this one goes to Storch. When it comes to pricing, again, we have some differences depending on the model year. In the case of the 1988 and 1989 models, the Lindsay kit is a little more affordable, a difference of $75. The 1985.5 through 1987 models require a chip socket conversion, and if you have Lindsay perform this upgrade for $50, it comes close to the pricing of the Storch kit, but it's still about $25 less expensive. As mentioned with the early cars, however, a new DME computer is required altogether with the Lindsay kit, so whether you're looking at an extra $200 for a used DME or $600 for a rebuilt one, costs are going to jump considerably in those cases. In summary, if you're trying to get the most power you can out of your 944 engine and you're comfortable getting a little more involved with the car's electronics, the Lindsay Racing Kit is worth a look. On the other hand, if you're mainly looking to add some reliability to your 944, the Storch kit offers a small bump in performance and better fuel economy, and it's much easier to install in reverse should you ever decide to switch back to the factory AFM, which makes it quite an attractive package.